And good morning, everyone. Climb on the football train today as we get going for another week. This is Game Day on Sports Radio, WSBT, and Sunny 101.5. Hello to all of you streaming or via the WSBT radio app or at WSBTradio.com, or you can catch us on YouTube right now. We're all itching to get going, so our Fighting Irish mojo, and more energy after a bye week. It was so lonely last week, Jim.
I almost forgot what to do last week, and then as a result, almost forgot what to do this week.
You're right.
If that makes sense.
Oh, it makes total sense to me. That victory was our fifth straight win for our Notre Dame team.
I'm hoping the momentum isn't lost.
That's right, because we want to make it a sixth win, and we're at Chestnut Hill in Massachusetts at Alumni Stadium. This will be the 28th meeting at Boston College versus your 12th ranked Fighting Irish in what many call the Holy War. On today's show, we'll briefly look back at that USC victory so long ago and analyze today's matchup. We're going to have our weekly features of Irish beat.
We're going to look back to that USC victory so many years ago.
We'll keep counting that, right?
Right.
It'll be etched in the history books. And we're also going to have another Fighting Irish Stratego. Plus, we'll be joined by 4 former Notre Dame and NFL players, Kapron Lewis-Moore, Marc Edwards, Josh Lugg, and Dr. Brian Ratigan, who's with the team at Chestnut Hills. I'm joined by our great and outstanding, and to make sure that Tyler got on board there. From blueandgold.com, we have Eric Hansen and Tyler Horka. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
How's it going?
I'm going good. How about you?
Tyler, how was the tarmac in New Hampshire?
If I look tired, it's because I am. I did actually catch some Z's. I never sleep on airplanes, but if you're going to put us on a tarmac for 3 hours and not move, then I think at some point in those 3 hours, I'll probably fall asleep, and I did.
Couldn't you have driven to Boston that quickly?
I could have, and they gave us the option, actually. I would say probably half the people on the plane got off the plane, and American Airlines was like, once you get off this plane, you're on your own. And I didn't really want to take a chance on an Uber at whatever time that was. And this was not like a real airport. Well, it was, but it wasn't. They had one rental car service. It was Enterprise, and it was 2 a.m., so it was closed. So I wasn't banking on a rental car either. It was a mess, Eric. Like, I could write 10,000 words on this experience alone probably, but I'm not going to do it because I'm too tired.
Now's not the greatest time to fly with all the air traffic controllers working second jobs, they say, to get their money. And I think this week
alone, it really was windy. I mean, when we went down a couple times trying to land at Boston, I looked at the people next to me. My dad's a pilot. All my family's in the airline industry. I was like, I don't think this is it, guys. And sure enough, we pulled up 2 times before they said, yeah.
You probably heard there was twice this week. The airplanes had to divert because they got in such turbulence. Passengers got injured and they had to land early someplace else. So, man, you'll be all excited to get back on that plane.
Logan is surrounded by water too, so there's not a lot of margin for error.
It was a scary experience. I'll say that.
Man.
Let's just get a quick thought on tonight's game, which will thoroughly cover Boston College and Notre Dame later on. But Eric, senior writer for blueandgold.com, how about your thoughts?
Well, Notre Dame's coming out of a bye week. They have lost a bye week game under Marcus Freeman. That was their last one against Texas A&M. He's won all the rest of them. This is a time for Notre Dame to show that they are an improved team, because now you're going to have the committee starting to put out top 25, this college football playoff selection committee, on Tuesday night. So you want to be at your best, don't have a spaghetti stain on your shirt after playing Boston College.
And Tyler, does that require Notre Dame scoring like 40 or 50 points? Not necessarily beating down somebody, but got to show the committee what we've got.
I think it does. And you kind of led me right into what I was just writing for the last hour. I do a last word column at blueandgold.com. Goes up sometime before the game on game day. And I basically said, if you are who you think you are, if you're Notre Dame, a college football playoff caliber team, then you should beat one of the worst teams in college football. That's what Boston College is. Not just one of the worst power conference teams. You go look at ESPN's FPI or any of those metrics, Boston College is down there with like UMass and Charlotte for being among the worst teams in college football. So to your point, Tim, you better go beat this team by 30, 40. Like if you score 40 and they only score 7 or 10, I think that's a win. If you get to 50, then people are going to see that, to Eric's point. People are going to see that in the college football playoff selection committee and go, okay, Notre Dame did what it had to do. We're not going to penalize, and maybe we'll even reward the Irish for what they did in Boston.
And Jim, the spread has been started. I think earlier in the week was started at 28. I think now it's over 30.
It started at actually 29.5, then got down to 28.5. And then yesterday, in the hour between, me looking at it and me doing leprechaun lunch yesterday, jumped up to 30.5.
Wow. So like, all the experts are predicting a pretty good blowout.
Yeah, this one is just there.
The matchups are bad too. I mean, sometimes a bad team has some advantages or a weaker team. I mean, Boston College is one of the worst rushing teams in the country. They're one of the worst at protecting their quarterback, and they're one of the worst rush defenses in the country. And that's a lethal trifecta when you're playing Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Although they pass not too bad.
Yeah, they pass a lot. That's the one saving grace is they throw a lot. And so what does the head coach, Bill O'Brien, do today? I don't know who I'm starting a quarterback. Well, you better pick one out.
Lonergan or
Lonergan or Grayson James.
James, okay. Well, we'll find out later on. Let's just briefly go back for that Notre Dame USC. It seems so long ago. I had to stop and think who the last opponent was Notre Dame played and looked in my notes or whatever. But, Eric, did we get the kind of game you thought was going to happen against USC?
I think you got the kind of game we thought that was going to happen and more. I think it was the best case scenario for Notre Dame that you did have Leonard Moore on Mekhi Lemon, and that was a fascinating matchup to watch. I think what surprised me a little bit was both how USC decided to defend Notre Dame, which was lean into their weakness, which was pass defense, and give that more resources and then kind of let the run go. Thought that was a bad strategy. And so
you never changed that the whole game, did they?
They didn't. And then I'd say where I got more from Notre Dame was the physicality on both lines of scrimmage. That's what if you're a Notre Dame fan, you hoped would happen. And man, Notre Dame owned the lines of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. So for me, that was kind of I don't want to say surprise, but pleasant development.
And Tyler, I think last week or 2 weeks ago when our show before the game, whatever, most of us hit the above point total, okay. Did you see the kind of game you thought was going to happen?
Yeah, maybe a little less scoring from Notre Dame's side, but I think that was a result of Notre Dame running as much as it did. I thought Notre Dame would maybe pass the ball down the field and score in 3, 4, 5 plays sometimes, but hey, if USC was going to do what it did defensively and give Notre Dame the red carpet to just run, then you saw more 7, 8, 9 play drives, and that's why you saw 34 points. I think I predicted 45. So, but to that effect, USC's total was probably lower than I thought it was going to be. I think I predicted 28 points. Some people maybe even predicted around 30 or over 30, but the game was condensed, and Notre Dame controlled the game. Really, like Eric said, on both lines of scrimmage, but the offensive line was just completely dominating, and that's kind of where the game was dictated, and that's why you saw what was probably an under. I don't remember what the over-under was, but 34-24, that being
sure we hit
60.
the over.
Yeah.
Was it right around 60?
I the thing was right around where it was this week, even 55.5.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I wasn't all too surprised by the way the game went, though.
Wait a second. The Boston College Notre Dame game is 55.5. I guess they're not counting on BC scoring. I guess that's not unreasonable. Yeah. Now that I think of it,
Notre Dame might.
Wait, Boston College is going to score. Wait, they might not.
Right. Coin toss. So
Obviously, we saw something no one else has ever seen at Notre Dame Stadium with Jeremiah's historic yardage figures. Again, Eric, puzzling. I kept thinking they're going to change that in the third or fourth quarter, but they just didn't.
No, they didn't. And then Notre Dame's tack was to lean into their rush defense and take their chances with USC's passing attack, which is their strength. And it worked because Jaden Mayava ended up getting pressure on him. He is really good, but he wasn't able to be as consistent. And Leonard Moore taking Mekhi Lemon out of the game. Then you had Jacoby Lane on Christian Gray, and that's where USC got a lot of its yardage. But I thought it was a brilliant strategy. And Notre Dame is quietly becoming a very good rush defense, which is handy with Navy coming up after today.
Same story, Tyler, on Christian Gray. He bends, and then finally he makes a big play at the end, and that's just his motive, or motif.
Yeah, I would even go as far as to say he breaks a few times. There is a lot of bending, but
I didn't want to say that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say it because I've definitely hyped the kid up, and he deserves to be hyped up when he makes the plays that you're talking about. The interception there at the end of the third quarter, that was huge. The game was still in the balance. I think it was a 3-point game at the time, or it was definitely a 1-score game. And he just has that knack for, against all odds too. That's the most impressive part about it, is the game is not going his way for long stretches. And USC is clearly picking on him because Leonard Moore is doing a number on USC's best receiver, and Jacoby Lane is a really good receiver in his own right. And that's who Christian Gray is tasked with going against. And Lane got the best of him a lot, but then Gray gets the best of Mayava and just steps right in front of a pass and kind of changes the game. That was probably the turning point in the game right there. That or the Jadarian Price kick return or touchdown, obviously. But yeah, like, here's the last point on Christian Gray. There isn't anybody else Notre Dame would rather have out there opposite of Leonard Moore. Like who else are you going to put out there? Cree Thomas, Mark Zachary, these are true freshmen who aren't ready yet. Christian Gray has helped Notre Dame win some of the biggest games that Notre Dame has won in the last 2 seasons. He's the guy that Notre Dame wants out there.
And I'll follow up on Christian Gray too. We had Dane Brugler from The Athletic. He's their NFL draft analyst on. He said Christian Gray has second-round talent. And if he were to come out in the spring, he has a chance to work his way up to the second round. So why isn't it showing up? He's just not as consistent enough. But I understand why Notre Dame keeps reinvesting in him. He's got the talent. He's got the work ethic. He's got the resilience. At some point, you're going to get a higher version of him. But Tyler wrote a good piece, or at least tweeted this and told me this too, is that, and I think this is good, when you're playing next to Leonard Moore, you're going to get targeted a lot.
Sure.
And you're not going to look like an elite cornerback, because Leonard Moore is the best cornerback in college football.
Jim, were you up in the press box too?
No, I was not.
So you watched it on TV. The NBC camera kept zeroing in on Christian Gray, and he just had the widest open eyes, black, dark, and this look on his face like, and they just kept going back to that. They didn't really make any comments about it, but the camera kept going back to it.
Yeah, it was a fun little, little trick as far as production goes. Hey, we're going to focus in on this guy because we think something is going to happen.
Right.
But we're not going to mention it. We're just going to keep it under our hats. So it's,
Well, there's something you can't keep under your hat, Eric. That would be Jadarian Price's contribution to the team also.
Jadarian Price is an amazing football player, and it's going to be really interesting at the end of the year to see what decision he makes as far as, am I going into the NFL or am I coming back to Notre Dame? And I thought there was no way he would come back. I think that there may be a decision for him, and not because he won't get drafted right now. Again, Dane Brugler said, of all the Notre Dame players right now, Price would be the one picked right after Love. Yeah. Love would be a first rounder. Price would be the next guy off the board. And he'd be running back number 2, most likely among all running backs.
Wow.
So that's a real big decision for him to make. But he's just so electric in the return game and in the running game. He gives you something different than Jeremiah Love. And, Jeremiah Love and Price are just amazing. I think there is a Pony Express Award or something that's for the best duo. I never heard of it until last week.
That's interesting. I haven't either.
Yeah.
But you think about it, if Jadarian Price isn't on the team, Jeremiah Love breaks not just the Notre Dame Stadium record, he breaks the school record, Julius Jones's record that was set against Pitt. But Notre Dame is a better team because of the way these two interact.
And I think Jeremiah Love is better for having Jadarian Price. Yeah, maybe he doesn't get the numbers, and I agree with that, Eric. Like we'd be talking Heisman, true Heisman Trophy numbers for Jeremiah Love. He's a Heisman Trophy player. He might not have the numbers because Price is there, but they work so well together. Like there was literally a sequence in this game where Jeremiah Love has a phenomenal first down run, takes it up the right side, probably 8 to 10 yards somewhere in there, and you're like, oh yeah, here we go. But his helmet pops off, so he has to come out of the game.
Right.
Notre Dame's on the 16-yard line. Jadarian Price runs left edge the other way and scores. So Jeremiah Love's like, oh, well, I guess that's it for me on this drive. But, hey, we scored, so that's the end goal anyway. It's just like those are the types of things that continually happen with these two because they're that good. And I think the offensive line is really paving the way for them right now too.
That's a good embarrassment of riches, by the way.
Yeah, sure is.
It really is.
So, Jim, the blocking of the offensive line and the receivers are just phenomenal.
I mean, especially the wide receivers. I mean, you think of a wide receiver, they just go out and catch the ball. No, these guys put a lick on people.
They do.
They will just, they at times put on harder hits than the offensive line does. And the offensive line right now is hitting pretty hard on where they need to go.
Getting to that second level a lot.
Yeah, they really are. So
I forget who had it. One of them had one of those Quentin Nelson where he just kept pushing the guy down the field
type thing.
Yeah, I don't remember which guy it was or whatever. Eric, your comment on the offensive line and receivers.
Yeah, I mean, the receivers are a big part of springing some big runs, and the offensive line, the run blocking has been their weaker suit all season. And as I mentioned, the physicality on both sides of the line of scrimmage showed up in this game, and it showed up in the run blocking. Billy Schrauth should have gotten 116 grade on Pro Football Focus. I think it was about 70. And so I think their computer was broken. But unfortunately, he ended up getting hurt in the game and is out for a while. But, man, he came to play. But you saw it from the tackles. Emil Wagner and Anthony Knapp really showed up in this game. They've gotten better and better, but Emil especially was struggling in his run blocking this year. He didn't last year. For some reason this year he was. For him to show up, it was just really good. And then I was super impressed with Joe Otting. I did not expect that kind of performance from him in a first start. I thought, well, we're going to see Sullivan Absher at center at some point. And Otting really in his audition showed that he belongs and that he has earned that spot.
He took
and now Absher has to play anyways at guard.
Right. Yeah, he took it and owned it. Tyler, in about a minute before we go to break and bring on our first guest, breakout player of the game for Notre Dame, somebody maybe you wouldn't think going into the game was going to happen. We know Love, we know Price, we know CJ.
Yeah, if we're sticking on the offensive side of the ball, Notre Dame is so centralized in who they go to there. Like you said, it's Love, it's Price. The wide receivers, we know it's Faison Fields, Will Pauling in the absence of Jaden Greathouse. I will say, I'll give a little caveat here. If he's ready, and I think he might be given the bye week and given we saw him for the first time against USC, I think Cooper Flanagan becomes more involved in Notre Dame's offense. And that might not mean he goes out and scores a touchdown today or gives you 6 catches for 50 yards or something, but I think Notre Dame, to be the team that it wants to be, it has to integrate Cooper Flanagan at the tight end position in multiple tight end packages. He's a great blocker. He was Notre Dame's best tight end last year, probably. I know Eli Raridan finally came around in his junior season and played a end-to-end wire-to-wire type year, but I think Flanagan is definitely one of Notre Dame's top 2 tight ends right now, along with Raridan. So if you can get him into the mix, I think maybe you see him lay one of those blocks that we were talking about the wide receivers and the offensive line doing. And if he does give you something in the receiving game today, which he's very capable of when he's fully healthy, then that's a bonus with everything else Notre Dame has going for it in the passing game.
He's Tyler Horker. We're also with Eric Hansen, both from blueandgold.com. Jim Arizari here in the studios with me. I'm Tim Growell. Stay with us for a short break on Sports Radio, WSBT and Sunny 101.5. Also via the WSBT radio app or on YouTube. coming back with Kapron Lewis-Moore.
Hey, I'll join you guys mid-interview. I'm going to get rounded up here and get in a car.
Pre and post-game coverage presented by Cheers Bar and Grill, your post-game headquarters for blue and gold football.
And we're back here on Game Day on Sports Radio WSBT and Sunny 101.5, getting you ready with our pregame Boston College show. This will be the 28th meeting of the Irish and the Eagles. The first meeting was in 1975, and it carries on till today.
Yeah.
Eric, did you, whenever I hear Boston College, I feel like they've played back since the 20s or 30s or 40s, but it's a relatively new battle.
Yeah, I mean, they used to play annually for a while, and then when Notre Dame got into the ACC agreement, then it became less regular and so forth. I've made a lot of trips to Boston College. I didn't make this one. I'm covering this one remotely, but yeah, I've been in that stadium a lot. But there's a lot of history packed into this series. I mean, I think we had a thread on our board at Lewis-Moore board at blueandgold.com about maybe the most painful Notre Dame loss ever, and a lot of people voted for the 1993 Boston College game.
Yeah.
I was there. I haven't gone to that many games in my life, but I was there.
Yeah.
So it's your fault.
Do you still feel the pain?
I can't think of the linebacker that the pass went right through his hands just before they went down there and made
he hopes you don't remember his name. But I interviewed him about that at one point. He said he didn't sleep for like 2 months.
Oh,
I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it. Hey, let's bring somebody on that I know you know. And actually, I'm going to let you start out the conversation after I introduce Kapron Lewis-Moore, a former Notre Dame and NFL player, because Kapron said that you are his dude. So his dude, Kapron, Jim, Tyler, and Tim are going to take a step back here for a second, and we're going to let you talk to your dude.
Kapron, how the heck are you?
I'm doing good. How y'all doing? It's been a very long time.
It's been too long. Kapron, for those who have been in a cave, is probably, I did a list this summer of the most underrated Notre Dame players of the 2000s, and Kapron was definitely on the list. And he still was rated. I mean, this is a guy that was an NFL draft pick, a starter on a team that played for a national championship. But I don't know that people knew how much he influenced the team in the locker room, how much he held that 2012 defense together. Just an incredible leader. And Kapron and I spent a day together for a magazine piece that I did on him. And I learned all about Kapron's family and how he grew up. Yeah, in Chicago.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. I mean, you couldn't have picked a better guest. So I'm thrilled. So Kapron, what are your thoughts on this 2025 Notre Dame football team?
I would say resilient. After the first 2 games, I was kind of nervous about, freshman quarterback coming in, and the team didn't really know. I know we had a good run game, but after those first 2 games, I actually had I was pretty excited about where the team was going. And, obviously Miami and A&M were games I wish we could have got back. But, we're still rolling through the schedule, and I think we got a good chance to finish pretty strong here and make a real strong case for the playoffs.
Early in the season, the defense was struggling, and some of it was the defensive linemen struggling with a new scheme under Chris Ash. I know that you had a regime change kind of early in your career, going from John Tenuta to Bob Diaco. As a defensive lineman, how difficult is that when you have different concepts and different, techniques that you have to learn with a new coordinator?
It depends. I think it takes a while to get real comfortable and adjust to the system, maybe a year or 2. But to have a sudden change. I know when we went from Tenuta to blitzing every play to Bob Diaco's 3-4 stack defense. I mean, we weren't as attacking; it was more like a mirror stepping. But it was just a different scheme. But also at the end of the day, if all the guys believe in it and buy into it, it could work. Chris Ash has been hired for a reason. I know he might have been struggling with the first couple of games, but football, it's a long season, and I think these guys are playing a lot better.
And I'll let these guys jump in after this one. Boubacar Traore looks like a guy that has a really high ceiling at one of the defensive end spots. I wonder if you could share your thoughts on his pass rush and the pass rush in general for Notre Dame.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. I think I definitely think he's could definitely have a chance to make a big impact. But just with defensive line play, you just gotta, as long as you get better every week and you're getting pressure, definitely need some other guys to step up as well. And I know we got a couple more games to really get things ironed up on the defensive line. But I think these guys have a really good chance to be really good.
I would say he's been the best one of the season so far.
Yeah.
Like the most consistent from the start.
We're conversing with former Fighting Irish defensive lineman Kapron Lewis-Moore on Sports Radio WSBT and Sunny 101.5. I'm the old guy here, so I like to go back, and I love stories about players, how they got here to Notre Dame. So always really interested, especially in Texas and Florida and California guys that come from warmer climate. So Kapron, what can you tell us about your recruiting that brought you to Notre Dame?
I can tell you what, me and my mom visited in January around her birthday, and I remember that it was sunny outside, but it was like, I don't know, 12 degrees. I was feeling my breath. So I was kind of I was not excited about that. It was very deceiving. Days. Hey, it was one of the deceiving. But, and I think just for me, I didn't really know much about Notre Dame. Ironically, I was going to go to Texas A&M. That was kind of my first choice. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, my mom was a real big influence because I wanted to stay close to home. My best friend was at Baylor. I had a lot of friends at A&M. But my mom was the one to really challenge me to do something different and like get outside of my comfort zone. Because, I do believe that outside your comfort zone is where you truly grow as a person. And she was just like, you can always come home. But she's like, go out and just get out of Texas. And I think it's one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. So
kudos to moms out there. Kudos to all the moms out there.
His mom,
that's a common factor that we hear more than anything else about a mother helping steer them towards Notre Dame.
For sure. And it was just we had a great trip. Everybody was warm and inviting and welcoming, and it's still there today. And it just radiates Notre Dame. And I can't be any more proud to be alum of Notre Dame for sure.
Which player was assigned to you to show you around the campus?
Brian Smith was.
Brian Smith?
Yeah, Brian Smith, the linebacker. We're still, to this day, we're still best friends. And we're all in a group text with like me, Darius Fleming, Brian, and, some other guys from Tyrell. Atkins was a track guy, Sean and Chandler. Like, those are my guys. And we've been talking almost every day for like 4 or 5 years. So it's been funny. And it's funny though too, Brian Smith did leave me on both of my days on my recruiting trip. He did ditch me though. So I want to make that clear. But I still came to Notre Dame.
We've had players tell us before that when I've asked that question, the player showed them around that the player took the money that they were supposed to use to take that player out of the town and they kept it to themselves.
That's exactly what Brian did. That's exactly what he did. So it is true. It is true. Oh my gosh.
We're talking with Kapron Lewis-Moore here on Game Day. Tim, Eric, Tyler. Tyler's in transition to the press box right as we talk right now. So a lot of transitions in your life. You had a transition from high school, obviously, to college. But then college, how tough is it sitting out a redshirt year?
Oh, it's really tough because you want to play and, you're very competitive. You just hate like riding the bench. And for the first time, that was one of my first times ever of like not playing football and not being a part of you're a part of the team, but not, directly contributing. So that was definitely a huge issue for me personally. But at the end of the day, I remember talking to Coach Weiss and Coach Brown, and they were just like, hey, like, we think you can play better. We don't feel like you're ready to get a little bit bigger, get a little stronger. Because not a lot of people realize I was recruited as an outside linebacker, and I was skinny in high school. And then I just started ballooning up, and that's why, they say when you get bigger, the closer you get to the ball. So I started realizing I went from a back into a defensive tackle.
Yeah, that's another transition I did not know about. So coming from linebacker to here, started out as a defensive tackle, and then got transitioned over to a defensive lineman. Correct?
No. When I was in high school, we were running like a 3-4 kind of outside backer kind of blitzing guy.
Okay.
But I played backer and in high school, and then as I got to Notre Dame my freshman year, that's when I was like, hey, you're just going to stay a straight defensive end. And then from a defensive end, then I'll transition to defensive tackle. So I didn't really play a lot of inside in high school because I was like thin, just tall.
Yeah, making that transition in, from the outside in, like how much of a weight gain is that?
It's huge. I mean, I graduated high school at 225, and my sophomore year, I think I was somewhere about 260,
Wow.
270, and I ended up being like 300 and
wow.
I think it ended up being 300 in college. So
is there anything better than being able to eat everything you want and all quantities?
Yeah, but I mean, looking back on that, probably wasn't the best thing to do. I think that definitely contributed to a lot of my injuries, but but I did. But it was a lot. It was definitely almost. I think it was almost like 75 to 80 pounds weight gain in 4 years.
Wow.
So it was definitely huge.
Do you have any Boston College memories? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Boston College memories. Not really. Definitely, I don't think so. We definitely had some tough games there. I know there's a couple of times we played a night game there at EC and we ended up winning. But that was just one team that I don't know if I got it from friends at Notre Dame, but I don't know. I think that was just one team I didn't really like playing because it was just, it was always hard. It was going to be a tough physical game. And they're pretty solid at the time. So that's kind of like one of my low-key kind of sneaky rivalry games me personally, I get up for.
Eric?
I'm kind of going off topic here. I'm wondering what your thoughts were on Brian Kelly being let go at LSU. That was your college coach at Notre Dame.
Yeah, I think it's just the way of the land, especially down in that SEC country. I was kind of shocked, just granted, because given his record of I think it was 34-14,
right?
Which is a winning record, and
anywhere else,
it just shows easily, and I think it just shows that down there, if you're not winning those big games, or you're not winning games you're supposed to, or taking where this leadership is, you got a kind of a short window, and I see that the AD was let go, and there's just the governor saying some stuff. So
yeah,
it's definitely going to be a little more interesting. I definitely will have my eye on this little LSU. I won't say debacle, but LSU team. So
I think debacle's a pretty good. I haven't heard that used word, but I think that's a pretty good word.
Had you stayed in touch with BK at all, Kapron?
No, I have not. I just if it's on, I watch. I'll watch a LSU if it's on or something like that. But I haven't really talked to anybody from there.
What do you got for what you think's going to happen tonight?
Tonight, I mean, BC has given up a lot of points, so I think Notre Dame wins. I think both running backs have 2 touchdowns apiece. I just think it's just for us, just kind of just keep the offensive, keep this thing rolling. So I think we win by at least 2 to 3 touchdowns.
Keep those style points,
Kapron, where are you, and where are you these days, and what are you doing in life?
Oh yeah, I'm in Washington D.C. Medical device sales. I work with a spine company called Globus Spine, and I've been out here for 4 years, and I like it. It's pretty tough. It's a lot of work, but I'm learning a lot. I'm growing as a rep, and it's a pretty fun industry to be in. So I'm out here in DC, and currently I'm pulling up to the University of Maryland, of course, to play some golf with some buddies of mine.
How's your golf game?
Not very good. Not very good.
a lot of time in the sand.
A lot of time in the sand. Couple mulligans, I might need a couple mulligans here and there. So
we'll get you back. We'll get you back on next year. You can tell us more about if it's improved at all.
That's
for sure.
That's the official golf game level of this show, by the way. Just in the sand.
So we're I can fit right in. I'm ready.
Exactly.
You're right.
Yeah,
You're
you
right.
can step in at a moment's notice.
Hey, Kapron, well, you go have a great golf game and a good weekend, and we appreciate you taking the time to join us.
Hey, thank you so much for having me on, man.
All right.
And Cap, when you're in town next time, let me know. We got to get together.
Yeah, definitely. We definitely will, for sure.
The two dudes got to get together.
Absolutely.
Two guys.
All right. Hey, stay with us.
Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with Dr. Brian Ratigan with the team in Chestnut Hills on Sports Radio WSBT, streaming at WSBTradio.com, and today on the YouTube.
Pre- and post-game coverage presented by Cheers Bar and Grill, your post-game headquarters for blue and gold football. Also brought to you by South Bend Orthopedics, trusted in the community for more than 75 years, and by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Tim Growl here along with Jim. Is there any WSBT? We know what that means when you hear that song about a doctor. It's our favorite doctor and your favorite doctor, Dr. Brian Ratigan, former player for Notre Dame and the NFL. And we say good morning out at Chestnut Hills.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
We're doing good. We're doing great. How about you today? What's the morning like?
It's actually really nice. Yeah, perfect for football out here. Blue skies, perfect temperature. It'll be a good one.
Have you ever been there before?
Yeah, we've been out here a couple different times. We had Kavari Russell broke his leg out here. That was a fun one.
Oh
So
boy.
I remember those stories.
Oh, the Boston College
But he's
game,
still
wasn't
playing,
it?
so you did a good job.
Fenway.
Yeah, he's a great guy. I mean, imagine that, breaking your leg, put a cast on you, and let's get back on the plane now.
Ugh.
Let's figure out how to find a seat for you. He's a tough kid.
Does that do anything to your leg, by the way? Like, does that, like, if you break a bone, like, does that cause any sort of pressure on the wound or anything? Like, what happens there?
Yeah, you get the altitude, the pressure. You know, you get people have your head hurts sometimes when you fly. Imagine that if you have a broken leg or a twisted ankle. Just in general, the guys are beat up and sore flying back, so they definitely have a little increased pressure on their joints and their body parts. But yeah, if you break something, it's even worse. So we always worry about it, but we do our best, throw some ice on it, and they muscle through. And as soon as they get home, we watch them really close once we get back. And remember Jarrett Grace, when he broke his leg in Dallas, we could not travel. He broke that one in 12 pieces, so we had to stay there and have surgery in Dallas. That was different. So it depends on the nature and how severe the injury is and what we actually have to do.
Let's talk a more happier event in your life. How about 1992, Notre Dame versus Boston College? It was quite a runaway, but something great happened to you.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun for us for a lot of reasons. That was actually the game they shot Rudy, the stadium. If you guys remember that movie, a long time ago.
That was the game.
Senior year. That was the game where they did the stadium shot. So we're in the locker room at halftime, and we hear the fans cheering. It's all this like fake cheers for like the kickoff scene, and we had no idea what's going on. Like, why are they? What is happening out there? I guess they're laughing because they were kicking it like 10 yards down the field, but the movie obviously made it look better than that. So
right.
Yeah, that was fun. And then obviously BC was the first time we had played them in a long time, and so I had one job: stop the tight end. Rick Minner was our D coordinator, and their tight end was catching a bunch of balls every game. So that was just my job. Nothing in the stat sheet's going to show up on that one, but I just know he didn't catch a ball. It was perfect.
And you got a game ball.
I did. Yeah, they gave me a game ball for that one. So just the little things that only the guys in the locker room know that one, right? So not having my name mentioned was perfect. That's exactly what I was supposed to do. Did my job. So
you were the Leonard Moore of last game. You were the Leonard Moore covering their tight end.
I don't think I'm ever going to put my name in the same sentence as Leonard Moore, but feet alone, I'm 2 buildings behind that guy.
When you guys were going to play them, did they bring in different coaches do different things? I know Holtz was big on history, bringing it in. Did they talk about it being the Holy War, the Frank Leahy Memorial Bowl Award?
You know, a little bit, not really. I mean, there was just a little bit there. Holtz was great about the history, but it was the first time it was more about just Catholics versus Catholics. You know, back then it was still fresh with Catholics versus convicts, you know, with the Miami tradition. So that was still hot in everyone's mind. So we just stuck with Catholics versus Catholics. And you can imagine how the schools go at each other, which is great. And I hope my brother-in-law is listening because he went to Boston College. So it's always like your fallback school, right? Like we always bust each other's chops. So yeah, a lot of that stuff was happening, but it was perfect.
I got a feeling he's going to have a rough day today.
I hope he does.
This is Game Day on Sports Radio WSBT and Sunny 101.5 with the head orthopedic physician for the Fighting Irish team, Dr. Brian Ratigan. So skip football real quick here to your daughter. That's had their first game the other night for the Fighting Irish. How's that feel sitting in the stands watching, Kelly?
It was great on many, many levels. One, I was able to sit 4 rows away from my wife. So I maintained the integrity on my hand and my skin from being crushed and torn apart. And we're still married. So yeah, it worked. No, it was great. Like I did kind of want to sit by her just because like Kelly gets her first shot, hit the 3, and get a little choked up inside. And I look back and of course Maury's already crying when she was, here we go.
So when she hit that 3, were you able to stay in your seat or did you just jump up?
I acted like I've been there before. Yeah, I like I've been there. So yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. I was enjoying every minute of it because she can do it, and I think she hit her first 5 buckets that she threw up there. So a couple free throws, a couple layups, and hit a 3. So that's always fun, at that stage, just to get her out there. It was a big moment. And what was funny, which nobody saw except my wife and I, is Kelly's grade school travel team had a coach named Rod Creech.
Yes, here in town, sure.
So Rod is now a women's ref. He's been reffing college basketball now for 5, 6, 7 years. He was doing the game. So when Kelly gets subbed in, her first role is to throw the ball in. So she's actually taking the ball out, and wouldn't you believe Rod Creech is the one handing her the ball?
Wow.
I was like, that's a small world.
That is full circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty great moment for those two. And then we actually met up with him after the game, just kind of pretty amazing. But he's refed some of her games at Loyola as well. So it's not like they haven't seen each other, but that was kind of fun.
That was. Eric, you got a question for Brian?
I got a couple. One is, you were mentioning what a perfect day it was. Tyler Horka ended up getting rerouted to New Hampshire last night because the winds were so great at Logan Airport. So I'm guessing the wind has died down there today?
Yeah, so I stayed back in South Bend last night to watch the St. Joe High School game my son Austin plays for.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't fly in with the team last night, but I heard it was pretty brutal. They did die down a little bit. We flew in this morning, about 4 of us, and it was choppy. 2 of them had barf bags, and we were done. I was not one of them. And when we got down and landed, they both were just green as all get out, and I was lucky. But they said, "Man, so much better than yesterday." I'm like, "Holy shit!" It was bad. Holy cow! So I can't imagine how bad it was yesterday. 'Cause it's pretty windy still.
The other thing I wanted to ask you, and without giving away trade secrets, I mean, when players are injured on Notre Dame, a lot of times we're very anxious in the media for a recovery timeline. How realistic are the timelines? And then when you see journalists picking out their own timelines, does that make you cringe?
I love it. It's like just a running joke. Yes, it makes me cringe every time. And it's no offense. You guys are doing the best you can, right? Because we're not telling you squat purposely, right? We don't. The coaches get to make the call. So Freeman will always be the one to make the call. I don't ever say anything to anybody purposely. I mean, sometimes maybe the coaches don't want them to know. Maybe we don't know. But yeah, the timelines are great when they come out, and the injuries are even great. Sometimes it's like they blew their ankle apart, and it was actually a shoulder that they were seeing in the tent for. But because some guys get a shoulder injury, they decide to limp off the field. People don't know. It's pretty funny.
Are you able to do what hockey teams do, like right around Stanley Cup playoff time, where it's just upper body injury, lower body injury?
I would love that. Honestly, God, they have such a racket. I love hockey. That's all they say. That's all they say. Upper body, lower body. It's the best of the business. I wish we could do that, but no, they won't let us get away with that.
Tyler, got a question for Doc?
Well, first thing, I can attest to how crazy it was last night trying to land at Boston Logan Airport. And you know those little white baggies that you see in the seat back pockets of all these airplanes? Growing up, I thought they were for like snacks and stuff. You know, you throw your chips in there. No, last night for the first time in my 30 years of existence, I realized why they're actually there. I didn't have to use one, but plenty of people around me did, and I had never experienced anything like that on an airplane, so I'm not surprised we were diverted. But getting to some more, some better things, I just want to go back to Kelly one more time, because I was at that game sitting on press row and pretty close to where she was when she hit that first corner 3. Not just in that game, Dr. Ratigan, but going forward, like, has it hit your family how cool it is that her growing up there, now she's repping Notre Dame on her chest, and she gets to do that not just in an exhibition game, but I mean, this is going forward, and Notre Dame's got some aspirations this year, and she's a part of that.
Yeah, no, it's really trying to take this one step at a time, because we don't want to get ahead of ourselves. Mm-hmm. We've always thought about this, and you dream about it always, and we've you guys heard me say this before, my whole family's drinks the Kool-Aid at Notre Dame, but we really believe in that university for so many reasons. And to have our daughter now doing it, and Kelly, her older brothers have been through, we're trying to get the other two in there. So we just love it, right? And so now that she's actually on the court on a sport that she's just poured her heart and soul into, but also it's everything else is the reason why she came. Now, she could have kept playing basketball at Loyola, but to play there at that level,
Right.
the coaching's just at a different level. No offense to any other programs, but the sports performance, the nutrition, the everything they have to allow you to be the best you can be, if you're willing to do it. And what I love about my daughter is she will do whatever it takes, and I can say that without hesitation. So it's a lot of fun to just have that in your family. So yeah, it's phenomenal. She will get the most out of this, and hopefully in some way, shape, or form, Notre Dame is also better for it as much as she will be.
Well, cuts down on your air miles, so you don't have to be doing a lot of flying for
Yeah, right.
Loyola.
Well, with the win like it is, I'm thankful for that.
There you go. Hey, let's give us your thoughts for tonight's game.
I think we'll be in good shape. Honestly, I love our team. I love the preparation. I don't think anybody in the squad looks past anybody. Just like any other game, when you feel like you're the better team, you just can't have all those like silly mistakes, the turnovers, the penalties, big plays. Like just those are the big things that's been ingrained in my life forever with Lou Holtz. Same thing still applies. Nothing's changed. So we do okay there. We're going to be just fine.
Remember, I always say at the end of each time we talk that it's a good night if I don't have to see you on TV. Unfortunately, last week I saw you on TV. I think that was with Billy Strauss injury or whatever, but you're sporting a new goatee, man.
No, it's no shave November. It's just starting.
Okay, there you
go. Yeah, but it's more gray now, so it does look like a goatee. It's actually a beard in there somewhere. You just can't see it.
You still had some black hair in there because mine are all white, so I know. I appreciate guys that still have black hair goatees.
Yep.
All right. Well, we appreciate you. You go have a great day out there today and root on the sidelines for their Irish win.
You got it, guys. All right. Have a great day.
Thanks
for
a lot.
having me.
That's Dr. Brian Ratigan, head orthopedic physician for the Fighting Irish. And we'll be right back on Game Day on Sports Radio WSBT and Sunny 101.5.
Welcome back. Game day, pre- and post-game coverage presented by Cheers Bar and Grill, your post-game headquarters for blue and gold football. Also brought to you by Wakarusa Ag, your go-to for all of your equipment needs. Find them online at wakarusaag.com.
That's Jim Irizarry. I'm Tim Grau, along with the senior writer for blueandgold.com, Eric Hansen, and the Notre Dame beat reporter for blueandgold.com, Tyler Horka. Remember, stay right here because immediately following game day at 2:30 will be the Fighting Irish Network pregame show with kickoff just after 3:30 p.m. After the game, it's time to join our own Jim Irizarry on the Notre Dame Overtime for a review of the game, plus all the stats and interviews. And remember, all that's on Sports Radio WSBT, Sunny 101.5, streamed at WSBTradio.com and through the WSBT Radio app, where you can get a podcast of each and every show that you miss. So 1 hour, that, as usual, just went out the window.
Right.
All right. So think Tyler's walking now on the campus of
We're walking.
What's the weather like there
Yeah,
today?
it's beautiful.
Yeah, Jim said it. It is beautiful. I could tell it was a little blustery because it is fall and all the leaves were going every which way, and I can feel it right now. So I think it is still pretty windy. You could probably hear it too.
Yeah.
It's sunny, and
Yeah, it almost looks like he's just walking around over at campus.
Yeah.
Like filmed it yesterday or something.
Eric,
it's not sunny right
Eric,
now.
let's lead off. It wasn't where I was going to lead off for our analysis of the Boston College game coming in tonight or whatever, but our kicking woes, and now we might have some wind to deal with too. What's your concern on that level?
I do have some concern just because it doesn't feel like it's completely settled. I think when Noah Burnett is healthy, there's a lot of confidence in what he can do in terms of making makeable field goals. And what I'm talking about is inside 50 yards. The variable is, have they really solved that intermittent hip injury problem? And there has been a game where they thought going into the week he was going to kick, and then on game day he couldn't go. And so I think that's a little scary. I think the greatest thing that they did along those lines, learning from Mitch Jeter's situation last year, was going out and getting Eric Schmidt, the #1 kicker in high school. Now, sometimes that from high school senior to college freshman is a really difficult mental lift for freshmen. Eric Schmidt has a very powerful leg. From 50 on, he's really good, but he's not yet super accurate. But I think in this game today, this would be a good time to at least get him a kick, whether it's an extra point or a field goal, just to get him ready in case Noah Burnett can't go.
Are you thinking there's going to be plenty of garbage time to do that with?
I do in this game, just based on the matchups. And I should add that while we're on break, Pete Thamel from ESPN reported that Dylan Lonergan is going to be the quarterback for Boston College today, which to me is a little bit of a surprise. He is the better passer of the two, he and Grayson James. Grayson is definitely the better runner, and given Notre Dame's given the fact that Boston College doesn't have a running game and they're not good at protecting their quarterback, I would think they'd want a little bit more mobility. But Dylan Lonergan will be the starter. He started the first 6 games. Then they said, well, we've got a terrible defense, so let's change our quarterback. So they started Grayson James for 2 games, and now they're back to Dylan Lonergan.
Which one's
all that makes total sense.
Yeah.
Which one's the transfer from Alabama? I forget.
Dylan Lonergan is the transfer from Alabama. And then Grayson James played 3 years at Florida International. This is his second year at Boston College, but he used to throw footballs to Chris Mitchell, the former Notre Dame player.
And Tyler, 1 and 7. Their record
1-7.
1-7.
1-7. Yeah, they've lost 7 in a row. They crushed a bad FCS team at Fordham in their opener, and then they've lost 7 straight. Now, they were competitive last week against Louisville, who's a ranked team, and how they were able to do that, they were able to force 3 turnovers, and that kept them in the game. But otherwise, they have not been competitive in a lot of those 7 losses.
Yeah, they're averaging giving up almost 40 or 38 points a game, 37.9.
And that's with the Fordham game added in there when
Yeah.
Fordham didn't score a lot. Fordham got 16 rushing yards in that game. Louisville got over 300, and they came into that game number 79 in rushing offense. Stanford, who is like 5 from the bottom in rushing offense, got over 200 yards rushing against Boston College when they played them.
Wow.
16 yards. You can almost, everybody in the backfield just lay down and count your yards from.
Yeah. So with that averaged in, they're still around number 100 in rushing defense. If you took the Fordham game out, they would be pretty close to the bottom in terms of rush defense in the country.
Hey, Tyler, you inside now?
Yeah, I just stepped into a academic building. I think it said some sort of honors commons, because if I would have been outside during this segment, all you guys would have heard was wind, and I don't think anybody wants that. So I'm just going to stick this segment out wherever the heck I'm at.
That's what happens when
Nobody
I
else
talk.
is in.
All you hear is wind.
Pierogi 2025 says Tyler looks a tad tired.
He would be right. Pierogi 25 is correct.
Well, I loved your story about the bags in the plane, because I tell you what, I wouldn't use it either. But if I had everybody else around me doing it, that would make me start using the bags.
Just that psychology. Yeah.
Yeah, just hearing everybody or seeing it.
Yeah.
And stuff too. So
It was the sound and the smell. I'll just say that.
oh jeez,
I think somebody missed the bag. Was
it this kind of consistency, like my smoothie, or what?
I didn't to look, so I couldn't comment on that.
So
the sound and the smell was enough. I didn't want to see it too.
Right.
What's our player of the game for BC this week?
I mean, I guess you have to go with the quarterback, because that's the thing that I was the most intrigued by going into this. I really thought it would be Grayson James, and I think the switch up there, because it was Grayson James. Well, it was Lonergan, and then it was Grayson James, and now it's Lonergan again. I think that tells you everything you need to know about where Boston College is at. They can't find a solution. They can't find a remedy. And I think another thing that's interesting about this offense, if we're going to stick with that side of the ball, nobody on the team is averaging at least 5 yards per carry. And usually you have somebody who has 9 rushing attempts, and he's taken one of those for 25 yards. So he's got a nice, healthy 9 yards per carry average. It's inflated because of the small sample size. Now, you don't even have that with Boston College, but you do have a guy named Turbo Richard, and I think that's our name of
that's the name I wanted to hear.
That's the name of the week, and he is kind of the guy that Boston College likes to go to on the ground. And Eric said it earlier, it's not a good ground game, but you might hear a lot of Turbo Richard. So if nothing else, at least we get to hear a cool name all day.
That's what I said yesterday. I was just like,
there's one every game.
At least we get to hear Turbo every so often.
I was just telling myself last night, I thought I'd do it during the bye week, but I didn't. I was going to go. Each game has had its opposing team has had some kind of standout, weird, something name that you can really remember. Turbo on a team though that only averages about 3 yards a carry.
That's great irony too. We need an all-name team. By the way,
I agree.
need to comprise that.
I agree. And of course, we've got Smothers, who has a brother that we'll have to put on the team too. So, all right. So, Jim, what do you overall BC? I know there's not a lot of words you can use or not use.
I'm not gonna lie. I can't imagine what it's like for a player right now, because I had a tough time getting up for this game. Not gonna lie. Oh God, do we have to go do this right now? Oh yeah, I guess we do. But I can't even imagine what it's like for a player. So that's just my concern. Irish for Life though, online though, wondering, did Rendell even bother to travel with the team this week? So I'm not worried about the offense one bit today. So
what do we think's gonna Eric, is there anything that could happen on Boston College's part that could make it turn into a Northern Illinois game?
I don't know about Northern Illinois, and I've seen bad Boston College teams give Notre Dame a hard time. Yeah. It's been a while. if you think about the 2002 season when they came into Notre Dame Stadium and Pat Dillingham was the quarterback that day and threw a desperation, I don't want to get sacked throw to a defensive lineman who scored, and that was the end of them being a top 5 team and an undefeated team. In 2015, Boston College kind of knocked them out of the top 4 for the college football playoff standings. They were 4th. They only beat Boston College at Fenway, and this is the game where Kavari Russell got hurt that Dr. Ratigan was referencing, 18-15, a really bad Boston College team. So this series has that weirdness to it, but I just think, especially if there's wins, this really makes Boston College worse than what they are. So I don't, unless there's a 6 turnover differential, I don't see it being a competitive football game.
If I remember right, Tyler, I don't think they've beaten us since 2008.
That is correct. Eric would be more of the historian than I am, but
I was at that game. That was a Jimmy Clausen had the flu game, apparently.
And he played with the flu.
That's what Charlie Weiss said. I don't think he wanted to do interviews. I think that's where the flu came up. So,
well, I guess if they lost, it wasn't a Michael Jordan-like flu game, was it?
No.
Well, they haven't, looking at the scores of their games, they haven't even had a chance to use their special teams very, very much either.
Luca Lombardo, their kicker is good. I mean, that's a guy that is.
That's really another name.
What's that name again?
Luca Lombardo. He's 11 of 11 on field goals, 25 of 25 on PATs, 2 of his field goals beyond 50 yards, and he was a former Syracuse soccer player.
Okay.
So, I mean, he's kind of a neat story. And 11 of 11, that's not a fluke, especially, I mean, as bad as they are, you're not getting a lot of pressure kicks. You know, the one game they did win wasn't close either. But Notre Dame would take him in a heartbeat.
God, Luca Lombardo on Notre Dame. Oh, come on. Oh,
it's a great kicker.
Anything that you could think.
How much eligibility does he have?
Anything that
maybe
you
one more
turn
year
into a one of those we didn't foresee happen tonight.
Maybe a whole lot of wind. Like, I don't think there's anything Boston College can do to.
It's going to be very fun today to see if they can make things. They're going to have to make things up.
Yeah, I mean, if the wind was crazy enough to derail my plans to the degree that it did last night, I figure maybe it could derail a football team's plans, but maybe that probably plays into Notre Dame's favor. If we're talking about teams that can run the ball and teams that cannot run the ball, Notre Dame is one of the former and Boston College is one of the latter, and Boston College has trouble stopping the run too. So all in all, everything plays into Notre Dame's favor in this game, maybe even the wind. The wind didn't play into my favor last night in the wee hours of this morning, but the win might be to Notre Dame's advantage today, but we'll see. This isn't a game where CJ Carr has to go out and throw for 300 yards either. He could easily be in that just over 100 range, and Notre Dame still wins this game pretty handily.
We'd like to see him be a little more sharper than he was 2 weeks ago. He was
you can have,
I guess I would call it serviceable performance at USC.
And he admitted that he was off in the beginning. That was my question to Marcus Freeman after the game in the post-game press conference was basically, would you agree with our assessment that CJ was a little off? Like, this was his off game. And Marcus said, yeah, for whatever reason he was. CJ didn't blame the weather. It was rainy in that game. Yeah. But he said, I mean, the rain got worse and I kind of got better later in the game. So the weather was not a factor. He was just a little off. And maybe it was USC being in that stadium and the rivalry being what it is, and the rivalry maybe not existing beyond that. So there were definitely some mental factors there. This is not a mental factor game for CJ Carr. I think even if he throws it 12 times like he did, I forget the game earlier in the year where he only had to throw it 12 times, but Notre Dame won. What was it, the Purdue game maybe? It could be like one of those types of games. But if he only throws it 12 times and completes 10 of those throws like he did in that game, then yeah, we're talking about a sharper CJ Carr, and that's what you want to see.
Eric, who would you like to see if the game got out of hand, got in there and got maybe a quarter of the fourth quarter snaps? Who would you like to see get in there?
Boy, I have a kind of a long list. There's a lot of freshmen that haven't played one single snap, and you will start to see them sprinkled in November because they can play up to 4 regular season games and still have their red shirt. So we're going to start
in unlimited postseason games, right?
Correct, in unlimited postseason. So now you're going to start to see some of those, and so yeah, I'd love to see Will Black and maybe a little bit more Matty Augustine play. I'd like to see a little bit more James Flanagan at tight end, and I think you're going to see him definitely. I think the two Flanagans can give Notre Dame a different look at tight end in some different formations. On defense, I'm trying to think. Well, the two tall safeties, especially Ethan Long, but Jadon Blair, I'd love to see him. I'd love to see Christopher Burgess Jr., see what he can do as a defensive lineman. So kind of some of those guys, it's more of a curiosity than, oh boy, they're going to change the trajectory of the season. But James Flanagan is definitely, and I'd love to see Nolan James Jr. play a little bit just because he was a BC commit at one point, and I think he will be vying to be, if Jadarian Price goes pro along with Love, he'll be vying to be the number 1 running back on Notre Dame's team next year.
I echo the Nolan James sentiment. I even said on our message board, put in the call for a touchdown. I think he gets a touchdown against the team that he was formerly committed to. Yeah. And then one more thing on the defense. I don't care if it's Cree Thomas or Mark Zachary or whoever, Notre Dame's corners need a break in this game. Like, get Leonard Moore and Christian Gray out of there as soon as you can, and that would entail going up big early, obviously.
Sounds like a plan. Well, our next guest is burning up my phone, so we're going to take a break on Sports Radio WSBT and Sunny 101.5. It's game day. We'll be right back with Marc Edwards.
Welcome back to Game Day, pre- and post-game coverage presented by Cheers Bar and Grill, your post-game headquarters for blue and gold football. Also brought to you by First State Bank, committed to being a premier financial partner with hometown values.
And as Jim said, this is the Game Day Show on Sports Radio WSBT and Sunny 101.5. And for those of you that are on YouTube, there's a wave out there. If you got any questions, send them in, put them on there, and if we got the time, we'll use them for the guests. And when our next guest happens to be a former Notre Dame and NFL fullback, he's got a lot going on, and telling the tale is going to be where he's at right now. Let's bring on board Marc Edwards. Good morning, Marc.
Hey, good morning. It's afternoon now.
I guess I'm the one that's drinking. I guess not you. So you got a drink in hand and a cigar.
Oh yeah, my goodness, you nailed it. Hit the hammer right on the head there, my friend. Yes. In my left hand, I got a little pour of bourbon and a Padron 1964 anniversary cigar. I'm currently at the world's largest outdoor cocktail party, tailgate for Florida, Georgia. Barbecue in the air. Oh my gosh, it is such a amazing atmosphere, and just having a great time so far.
And how about tell the audience the reason that you're down there? Got something special going on with your young son.
Well, you know, actually, we have a week off from the recruiting trail because it's a neutral site game. That, you know, neither team can do, you know, the recruiting type thing.
Gotcha.
But we did attend, my son Xander having an outstanding sophomore football season, leading the state of Florida in rushing and touchdowns right now, and getting recruited by everybody. A few weeks ago, we were at Florida-Texas game as a recruit. We went to Florida State Pitt. Florida State offered him a day or two after that visit. Baylor offered him a little bit after that visit. We were at Notre Dame USC a few weeks back. We were at Vanderbilt, Missouri last week, and Vanderbilt offered him on the spot as well. So we have been making recruiting rounds, but you know, fortunately for the young man, we had a game last night, another 100-yard game with the, you know, touchdown, a couple catches, had an outstanding win, an 8-1 versus 8-1 showcase, and two of the top 10 teams in Jacksonville here matched up, and we beat them pretty good last night, 31-0. So that was good. But taking a weekend off from the recruiting trail and just letting him be a kid if he can. He's at a different tailgate here at the Florida-Georgia game, just hanging out with some of his teammates and, you know, being a teenager this weekend.
Marc, what about today's recruiting versus when you were recruited or how you were recruited? Do you like, and what do you dislike?